All right, so this one was titled SaltEMike, please watch this video from Croncy. Well, at least that's what he posted on Twitter, but it's actually called Growing Issues with the Star Citizen Community. Okay, here we go. So this one, I'm very interested to hear what his take is on what issues with the Star Citizen community are, because there's a bunch of them.
And it'll never end. It'll compound. It'll get worse and worse and worse. I just wanted to preface this by saying that this is actually part of a much longer conversation where we took a lot of cues from chat, answered questions, learnt some stuff. There's a couple of things I say in this video that my opinions have changed a little based on some experiences from chat. So do keep that in mind. We're going to be doing conversations like this every single Monday at 2 p.m. UTC. And we're thinking of calling it the Comlink. So if you want to have a conversation with me, chat,
like a
bunch of other people about all things and anything Star Citizen related, make sure to check it out. Lastly, if you disagree with me, that is the point. I'm just trying to express here what I have experienced and what I've seen other people experience, and opinions are subject to change. Enjoy.
Doesn't this guy dislike your content?
Episode 1. Croncy's cool. Conversation Corner. So I've been wanting to make a video for the past like 2 weeks. Really weak. So Jumptown, Siege of Orison, it's over. Siege of Orison was a lot of fun. Jumptown was a lot of fun. The biggest thing that's happened over the last like 2 weeks, and then with this patch, is the server cap increase, which has meant that these events have had a lot more people in them, which has been mostly good. Siege of Orison with a bit less, so it wasn't as relevant. Jumptown with a lot. Having 100 people able to be doing Jumptown, very cool, because it also means you have multiple parties, you have multiple groups of people, like 20v20s were happening during Jumptown. However, there has been a really big issue. There's an issue that's been compounded by these larger server caps. So we've always had trolls in Star Citizen. This is not new. It's always been a thing. There's always been trolls. But having 50-player server caps has meant that you would not encounter them frequently unless you were US servers, honestly. It has become such an issue now. Every single general chat and every single server I'm in now, constantly full of trolls, constantly full of toxic behavior. It is actually terrible. It doesn't mean the community itself has been getting worse. But what?
I mean, welcome to the internet. Like, I almost think that that's a good thing. Right? Like, that almost means that the game might be healthy. In the weirdest way, that actually might mean the game's healthy. Because, like, most popular games have the most toxic global chats. But, all right, let's continue.
What happens... And this is mostly what's concerning me. What happens when you have a lot of people together and they see the toxic behavior is you have players start to emulate that. You see it we've seen it in games for 20 years. The more toxic a community is allowed to be, the more people start following along that line. People that would normally not be toxic at all. And
wait, I think he's talking about me now.
Now there's just literally no moderation tools at all, which is really weird as a thing because, like, strangely enough, CRG have shown, like, they will, like, if you screenshot and send it to CRG, they are brutal. They will outright ban that person and whatnot. But that's not
they don't
practical.
give a shit.
That's not practical at all. And so I know that CRG probably want to do moderation tools, and it's probably, like, I mean, of course they want to do moderation tools, but it's a thing that's, you have to do it right now. If you don't do it right now, the community will continue to become more toxic. And it'll never end.
Okay, I see where he's going.
It'll get worse and worse and worse.
I see where he's going with this. Is like making some sort of moderation tools, word filters, the ability to mute players more easily, maybe like through the actual chat window. Yeah. So, yeah, that's probably good.
F12ing isn't an option, and that's because of these new dynamic events. Because we have Siege of Orison, because we have Jumptown, and when we get Xeno Threat back, when we get Ninetales back, communication is extremely important in those events. Communication in Star Citizen is extremely important. Saying just F12, which is what most people say, it's literally not an option. It's too important to have to actually talk to the other players in the server. And, like, it doesn't have to be like a reporting system necessarily. It has to be, at the very least, a muting system. If I can just mute someone, cool, right? I can still communicate with everyone else with no issue. Because
I mean, like, we have, like a lot of people are pointing it out in chat right now. Like, we have VoIP, you know, and that is going to be really toxic as well.
There's also, like, if someone's being like just outright racist, or like if they're breaking some sort of TOS, then like they should get banned and whatever. And like most people will go through the effort of doing the huge, contact CRG. Here's some screenshots. Get him out of here. It's not necessarily those players that are the ones that are actually causing issues. Exactly, Hazelnut. Yeah, the more toxic they let the community get, the more people who don't like it go find something else to do. Exactly, 100%. Like this isn't just coming from, like, the toxicity thing isn't just coming from trolls. It's sort of like my second half of it. Teaching new players how the game actually works, like, and the fact that we don't really have a proper system there, is also making the community more toxic. The amount of
it's
people
frustrating to play
during, for example, Jumptown, who are unironically saying, like, is Jumptown safe? Why did you kill me? You're a griefer, is becoming also much more of an issue. We have so many new players coming into the game recently, which overall is great, right? Overall, that's fantastic. But this is only going to ramp up. The amount of new players that are coming into the game,
the most toxic people are people who get killed.
Accurate portrayal of what the game is currently. Like, I'm not talking about what it is in the future. I'm talking about what it is currently, what is currently allowed for players to do in terms of PvP. New players don't understand it at all. To the point that, like I said, Jumptown, they have no idea that that's a PvP event, and they think that anyone doing PvP there, they're toxic, they're a griefer. That behavior itself is extremely toxic, and it's going to be really, really concerned about the state of the community. Like, there is 100% griefing that still happens in the game, but I would say that the actual griefing of, like, pad ramming, I don't think that's
so much more rare.
And that's probably likely to the fact that, Port Olisar is no longer as central of a meeting place as it used to be. So people are much more spread out. We now have hangars everywhere, so it's much harder for you to, target someone to actually, like, pad ram. I'm not saying it's not possible, but it's significantly harder than it used to be. So those sort of behaviors,
pad ramming is
I feel like are
the
actually
stupidest
getting
thing.
better. Like,
ramming, period.
Doing that, but now there's just this huge push of any PvP is the worst thing to happen in the game, and I hate it, and you're the worst, and you shouldn't be doing PvP. I can't believe you killed me, and it's really bad. And it's one of those things that, like, obviously this is a thing that's much harder for CRG to fix, and I think is honestly a lot more on some, like, creators' onus of, you should be making sure the community does know, like, all these new players, when they come in, do know what they're getting into, because when they expect it, it's nowhere near as much of an issue. You'll see people talk about, I was doing a trade run, I went through the trade run, I got interdicted by some players, or, like, got caught off by some players somehow. Maybe you're on an ROC and you got caught off by some players. They killed me, and, like, they're griefers, and I can't believe they did that. So anyway, I did the exact same thing again. And it happened again. Of course it did. Like, what are you talking about? It's at first, when you hear about these stories, you're kind of like, well, that's your fault and you're a bad player. But there's no one actually giving you the information of how to avoid these things in the game if you wish to avoid it. Like, cool, don't mine in that location while you know that there's some active PvP players there, right? Like, if you want to avoid that. Or if you're doing a trade run, cool, maybe, just take a longer quantum jump so that you're coming in from a different angle and they can't interdict you. Very easily avoidable, but you need to know that that's an option. You have to
yeah, sort of, but I mean, it's kind of also the like, welcome to Star Citizen, you know what I mean? The you got your introduction to the game. I think he means, like, I think he really doesn't think that introduction is a healthy one. But, like, there's games like Escape from Tarkov and games that do strive to be a little bit more hardcore, that have those experiences that kind of open you up to what the game's kind of about. And when PvPers say, well, just get good and things like that, I think that those comments are pretty toxic. But I think what Croncy's trying to get at is that there's not an easy way to find out the answers, and a lot of your experience in Star Citizen as a new player is probably quite confusing. Like, you know, you don't have. All right, like let's use a really good example here. We've had Anna Demetriou go into the studio and record like what seems like hundreds of hours of voice lines for something like Siege of Orison. Why is a new player not getting like somebody commenting to them when they leave an Armistice zone for the first time over voice chat? Like, you know, hey pilot, I hope you enjoy your first times in the verse. Just so you know, this is an Armistice zone, this is a monitored zone, this is a crime stat, and it's all voice acted. Like, things that are likely not to change, right? Give them a little insight into what those things are and kind of hold the hand a little bit on that first stream, or that first stream, because I'm streaming. I think that on that first time that you're out there playing, I think that those things can be really healthy, right? Your little first time experience stuff, exactly. But overall, it's kind of funny. I think it's a little bit more welcome to the internet. Like, this is just how it's going to be. You're not going to be able to combat toxicity, especially in MMOs. But I do agree with him that there needs to be ways to moderate it easily, and more importantly, just be able to mute people, things like that, mute certain channels. The thing that frustrates me more than anything right now is there is an option in game to still have chat windows open, but not have global chat. That option no longer works. So you can say send to visor or not send to visor. I can no longer not send to visor my global chat. So you can just have chat with your org. You can have chat with just your party. You can have chat with just the people in your ship. And that's not able to be done. It's just all one big chat window. So, but yeah, I almost find it as like Star Citizen is becoming more popular and more healthy because of the toxicity, believe it or not. It's really ridiculous, but that's what it is. And yeah, I'm glad that they're really brutal on their bans and all that stuff as well. So yeah, that was an interesting one. Croncy, thank you very much for that. And Croncy is a Twitch streamer and YouTuber, and he plays at our time zone. So he was in stream a little bit earlier. I wish we watched this video while he was here, but we were watching something else, I think. And he, yeah. So if you guys are interested in his stuff, we definitely stream at the same time. So you might find that you prefer his content more than mine, or just as much, and want to hang out. So make sure you give him a follow, show him some love. All right.